What's up, guys? It's me, Tony G, coming to you from Live Hotel and Casino. This is episode 85 of my vlog. In this episode, we're up really early. It's currently 8:30. Going to register for the 9:15 satellite into the Live 500. If we get a ticket in, it's a $500 ticket into the Live 500 with a $200 bounty on that tournament. We're going to see if we can satellite in here. I hope you guys enjoy it. Here we go. Real quick, do me a favor. If you guys are new here, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button. It helps the channel out a lot. I appreciate you guys stopping by. If you're a returning subscriber, appreciate you stopping back by. Let's get into the episode. Okay, after losing a couple hands, I have the Queen of Spade, the 8 of Clubs. I'm in the small blind. It gets raised to 300. I decide to call, and the button also calls, and the big blind is in. We wind up going 4 ways to the flop, and the flop is the King of Diamonds, the Ace of Hearts, and the Ace of Diamonds. The big blind checks, and it actually checks all the way through. The turn is the 4 of Diamonds. The button puts out a bet of 1,200, and I fold my cards. I got nothing. About an orbit later, I'm back in the small blind. Blinds are 100, 200, 200 ante. I have the 8 of Clubs, the 9 of Clubs. It folds to me, and I make it 300 to go. The big blind calls and the under the gun calls, and we are 3 ways to the flop, and the flop is very favorable. It's the 5 of Hearts, the 6 of Hearts, and the 7 of Hearts. I wish I had 2 hearts in my hand, but it checks all the way around to the turn, which is the King of Spades. Not checking it again, so I'm throwing out a bet this time. I decide on $400, and unfortunately everyone folds and we take down a small pot.
Did he tell me why? Has anybody told you why? Have you any idea why?
Okay, a level or 2 later, after I bled some chips, blinds are now 200, 300, 300. I'm in the big blind. I have the Jack of Diamonds, the 9 of Spades. A couple people call the 300 big blind, and it gets back to me, and I raise it up to 900. Get a couple people to the flop 4 ways. It's the Jack of Hearts, the 7 of Diamonds, and the 4 of Hearts. I immediately bet 1,200. I get raised up to 3,200. I snap, go all in. He asks for a count with the all-in amount, and it's about 3,800 or 3,900. He calls, and the board runs out the Ace of Hearts and the 2 of Spades, and he shows Ace Queen of Diamonds, and unfortunately we're out of the tournament. Well, that didn't take long. 3rd level out. I flop top pair, raise it up on the turn. He goes, puts me all in basically. Ridiculous. And he had me covered. All right, I think we're gonna go play some cash. Okay, let me start out by saying the guy on my right had been drinking all morning, was raising a ridiculous amount. After he straddled and 3 or 4 people called, he'd raise it back up to like $175, something ridiculous. So I picked my spots where I could at this table until I did switch tables. So here we go. Okay, now that we got that info out of the way, I have the Queen of Hearts, the Jack of Spades. I'm in the small blind. The button, like I said, who's been acting wacky, actually raises it to a normal amount of $15 this time. So obviously I'm not going anywhere for 15, and I call, and I think middle position calls, and we wind up going 3 ways to the flop. The flop is pretty decent for us. It's the king of spades, the queen of spades, and the 7 of diamonds. Now obviously I'm first to act, so I throw out a bet of $20. I really want the guy on the button to call, but believe it or not, only the middle position calls, and he says, "You're crazy, $20," and folds. That's the pot calling the kettle black there. But anyway, we're heads up to the turn, which is the 10 of spades. Got a flush draw going now. Size my bet to $40, and middle position doesn't go for it, and looks at his cards and folds, and we take down our first pot.
Has anybody told you what?
I already know I'm probably going to hear shit for this hand, but with the guy to my right who was playing like a wacko, I was trying to get some chips from him because he was basically calling everything. So here we go. Okay, like I said,
Did he tell you
I
what?
was eyeing up the guy to my right, and I didn't even realize he wasn't even the hand. But I am in the big blind. It gets raised to $6. I do call. Again, I realized he wasn't in the hand. He was actually buying back in for another $400 because he lost all his money. The guy in middle position was the only one that was calling this wacko for the most part. And I do get into the hand with him. And like I said, we're 4 ways to the flop here. The flop comes out the 10 of spades, the 8 of spades, and the 7 of hearts. Now, I'm trying to decide if it checks to me what I'm going to bet. And the guy in the middle position, like I said, he's been calling some weird stuff, but I just threw out a bet of $15. And everybody else folds, and the guy in middle position, which would probably be the second person I was targeting, he does call. The turn is the 2 of spades, and he actually checks it over to me. I have the flush. I'm not going anywhere, so I throw out a bet of $25. I have no idea what he could have at this time because he was calling for big money for with some weird cards too with the other guy to my right. The river is the king of hearts. I decide to down bet it to $15, and he looks at his cards and says, "Man, I need to call this." He calls. I show him the flush, and he flips over the 10 of hearts and the 2 of hearts. Like I said, this guy was calling some weird stuff also. My buddy, the wacko better on the button, folds, unfortunately. I have the jack of hearts, the 6 of hearts. I'm in the small blind. I make it $12 to go. I get 2 callers, including middle position. The flop is the 9 of diamonds, the jack of diamonds, and the 4 of clubs. Now, with top pair, I'm not going anywhere, obviously. I throw out a bet of $15. Middle position, as he's done pretty much all day along with the guy to my right, has raised it up. He raises it up to $30. I call, and the big blind to my left also calls, and I'm happy to see that. We're 3 ways to the turn, and the turn is the ace of spades. Now, for some reason, I just didn't feel that bad about the ace of spades, so I do check it, and so does big blind, but middle position isn't having any of that. He bets $65. I thought he said $55. I call, and the dealer has to correct me that it's $65, so I have to throw in another $10. So as soon as I throw in the other 10, the big blind folds, and the river gives us a wonderful 2 pair. It is the 6 of diamonds. As soon as I see the river, I go all in. He starts hemming and hawing and going, "Oh man, the ace. You were on a flush draw. I knew it. I don't know." And then he tanks. He tanks for a good 30, 45 seconds and asks for a chip count. And then he says, "I'm sorry, dealer. I need another 10 or 15 seconds before I make this call." Ultimately, he does call and flips over the jack of diamonds and a 3 of clubs. And we would have had him anyway with the kicker. But we take it down with 2 pair and take down a decent-sized pot.
Did he tell you why? Has anybody told you why?
Now I decided to switch tables because the guy to my right was just getting out of control. The last hand before I switched tables, he straddled. 4 people called to straddle, and he said, "I'm not having any of that," and raises it up to $125 or $150. And that's just not the game I want to be playing. And I got pretty much tired of not being able to call his goofy raises. So I went ahead and switched tables, and here we are. This was really the only notable hand. Yes, 9-3, I know. The 9 of clubs, 3 of hearts, I'm in the big blind. Gets to me, I check my option, and this table was not really that good for action, so didn't stay too long. Like I said, I checked my option. We're heads up to the flop. It's the 9 of hearts, the 3 of clubs, and the king of spades. I'm hoping he's got a spade. The small blind checks it to me. I bet $6, and he must have a king or something of noteworthiness because he calls after thinking about it for a quick time. The turn is the 3 of diamonds giving me the full house. I throw out a bet of $15 this time, and yeah, he calls. The river is the queen of diamonds. He checks in the dark, and I check, and he just doesn't show me, and we win with the full house. If I wouldn't have checked, he probably would have folded anyway. I hope you guys enjoyed that. If you did, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button. Leave me a comment down below. Tell me what you liked. Tell me what you didn't like. See you guys in the next episode. And don't forget, it doesn't matter how you're living your life, as long as you're living the felt life.